Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie, and we're excited to welcome Siobhan Devine. Welcome back, Siobhan.
Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, this is special because we've talked to you a few times about directing One Calls the Heart, but this is the first time we're talking about a new project. So you directed the second movie in Providence Falls, An Impossible Dream. Nope, An Impossible Promise.
Yeah.
That's the name of a playground nearby.
Oh,
Anyway, An Impossible Promise. So tell us, Siobhan, how did you get involved in this series of movies?
well, I was working on a multi-camera sitcom at the time when I heard about this, and I heard about it and it sounded really interesting. So I asked my agent to pitch me, and then I read the first couple of scripts, and they were like. So I was like, okay, I think I really need to get in this. And then it's just my schedule kind of worked for movie two. So we pitched me for movie two because it just worked better I couldn't really start right away because I was already shooting. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you guys need someone who can start right away because this is a massive project. So it just kind of worked the best for my schedule. And it turned out because I love this movie.
We're going to say same. We love these series of movies. But when you pick up in a series of movies like this, is it similar to when you direct, a series where you come in, partway through and the characters are already going? Does it have that same type of handoff for a director?
I would say yes and no. I mean, yes, in that Lucy was the lead director. And so she was, location scouting when I was still working on the other project. But because it's world building, like on a series, like often I come in late. Like on When Calls the Heart, I came in on season 8. Okay, world is built. But this is like world building. So I was really involved. I was keeping up with all the location scouting that was going on and all the casting that was happening. So and I would go to meetings. So it's sort of like yes and no. Like yes, it's the same because I was following Lucy's lead to some degree, but it's different because I was also involved in some of the world building because so many things we shared, right? So many locations we shared, so many so we had a lot of conversations. Collaborating with Lucy was amazing. Like, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had, actually, as a director. We just got along so well, and we had a very similar vision, and we were able to kind of bounce things off of each other. And we had both read all the movies, and so it was very, very collaborative, so it was the same but different.
Okay, so that's great. First of all, I've never really thought about having to be pitched as a director. I don't know why that's never crossed my mind. So that was interesting to learn from you. But what kinds of things when you were world building, did you and Lucy really collaborate on? Like, what was there anything that was like really major that you had to work on together?
I think casting, we did. I was involved in all the casting, and then we would have discussions about casting because a lot of people are involved in casting. It's not just the directors, right? Like, obviously the producers are heavily involved, the network's heavily involved. But we would talk about casting and then also some of the locations and in things like transitions, like how we were, because we both have to go back and forth between the past and the present, and how are we going to do that, and how are we going to manage the Aegon. So even though I was shooting, like I shot and then I was finished. So as soon as I was finished, I started going. Like, I went to set quite a few times when she was shooting, and so that we stayed in touch and we were kind of on the same page. So so that was quite different.
I love that you talk about world building, and as a reader, I'm a big I like to read things that have a lot of world building involved in them. Think like Lord of the Rings as the biggest world building.
That's a big world.
That's a big world. But that's exactly it. We're in a completely new world here, and it's a world that takes place in two different places and two different times. And one of the things is it's filmed part in Ireland. Did you get to film in Ireland, or how does that atmosphere of going back and forth impact what you're filming and what you're thinking as a director?
I did not go. I think you notice that in the second movie, there's only the one scene in the castle, and so it felt a little bit crazy. It would have pushed production by 2 weeks. That's the thing that would have been so expensive.
Yeah.
And I was prepping, so we decided, because Lucy and I were so much on the same page, we decided that she should shoot that, because most of the stuff in Ireland is in movie one. And I just used the flashbacks. So yeah, we decided that she should go and shoot it, and I should stay home and prep for movie number 2. And so that is what we did. I did shoot some of the stuff in the woods though, because that was shot here. But all the stuff that's obviously Ireland,
Right.
Lucy shot. Yeah.
Right. So when you're shooting in Vancouver, I imagine, or around, and you're pretending it's Ireland, what do you, as a director, like, how do you really give us that vibe? Is it because we already know that they were, that's where their story began, or is there something that you still need to kind of bring to that scene to get the audience there?
Well, it had to be, I mean, it was in the woods, so it had to, and it had to have kind of atmosphere, its own atmosphere. And so, in fact, Lucy and I were out scouting on New Year's Eve. We were out scouting I know, it was crazy. And going to all the different places to find a suitable spot so she directed all of the sequence of the running and the falling and all of that. But I went, so I was on deck because I knew some of it was in my movie. So we were both there for that shoot. And then the scene over the campfire, that we just wanted it to feel wild. I think that was the main thing, is it needed to feel wild.
Right.
It couldn't feel like a tame place. It had to feel like they were in a forest in the wild, and there's sort of a danger, a little, a feeling of a little bit of menace. So it's trying to find something that's got romance and menace, which is quite complicated. But those two things, I think it worked really well. I think that those scenes are really great and have the two things, like the romance and the menace. So yeah, so that's really what we were looking for in the forest. Yeah.
Right.
I kind of love that, because there is this mystery piece, and there's this romance, and there's so many moving parts in these movies, because there's a murder case, there's new characters, there's the relationship between Cora and Liam. As a director, how do you make sure that all these moments are getting the attention the audience needs in order to follow the story?
Such a good question. It was super complicated, especially because it's like one long story, right? So
Right.
the story started before I'm shooting, and then I have to set, like, the job of my job in the middle was to set up the end, right? It was to take all the strands from the beginning, make it all more complicated, mix it up, and then set up the last movie. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just really, following the script, knowing what needs to be shot, keeping track of all the different elements, and then trying to make different things look a little bit different, so that it's not just, all the same. So as you'll see, like the present and the past look different, but also even the pacing. I mean, a lot of it is pacing, and I think we might have talked about this before, but like the modern day police procedural has to have a faster pacing,
Right.
whereas the romance and that has to be more like slowed down, a little bit more kind of light touch. And then also using, TV is a lot of show don't tell. So using the camera to make sure that we see all the bits, the reactions, the things on the board we need to see, the inserts, like those are super important, because if someone's just telling you stuff, I think most of us zone out. So it really has to be broken up with visuals. So because there's so many things you have to kind of follow. We're following a lot of stories. So
Yeah.
so a lot of that show it to make sure that it's clear to everybody.
You talked about the pacing between, from the modern day and the past. Did you do anything with color too when you were shooting these two? Because it feels very almost black and white sometimes when we're in that, in the offices, the police office. It so what am I trying to say here? What did you do that made me
So
notice that?
yeah, I mean, that is mostly up to the DP is the person who really, he
Right.
was totally brilliant, amazingly collaborative. And he had put mood boards together, which he sent out so we knew what he was planning to do, like the different color and the different lighting for the present day and the past, and also like he sent I was able to figure out what movies they were, and so to watch them to see. So I knew what he was planning. So
Okay.
that was great, and I'm sure that he and Lucy talked about it. But for me, I knew what he was planning to do, and so I was able to kind of lean into that, and that was super helpful.
What kind of movies did you watch that you were kind
Oh
of,
wow, that's so cool. Oh my gosh, I don't even have any notes about that. So there's a movie called Lady Bird. I don't know if you've watched
okay.
that, and that is like a coming of age movie. It's Greta Gerwig, and it has these kind of more muted tones, it's a little bit of brown in there
Hmm.
instead of like bright light. It's kind of like, yeah, and I think that is it's a very modern feeling look, and I think that was a movie that I watched, and I was like, oh, okay, this is similar to the mood board that he sent.
Right.
This kind of like a palette, which is super modern, but it's browns instead of blues. A lot of TV is blue, and this was browns, and I think it's one of the things that makes the movies look different is that the primary color is not blue.
Huh.
It
Interesting.
visually really stands out and it really helps the viewer to follow along in the story, which has just this much longer arc because it's a 3 movie series.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate that attention to detail. So thanks. Shout out to the DP. Who was the DP for this?
So his name is Justin Sebastian.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Sebastian. Is my first time working with him, and I loved it. Like he's absolutely fabulous and great collaborator and super talented guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing. I mean, these really stood out visually, I think, compared to a lot of other content that we watch.
Right. Yeah, and I think that was
Yeah.
probably the point. And also because it is a different, it's serialized, which is also not, most movies just have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And this has a beginning and a middle and an end, but it's, over 3 movies. So,
Right.
it is a little different. So I think that having a different color palette works for it because you immediately know you're watching Providence Falls when it comes on because it looks the same as the last one. It doesn't
Right.
look like other movies, right?
It feels
Yeah.
like it has a different price point. Is what my this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this feels expensive. I don't know how else to say it, but it
It's true. Yeah.
it has a
Yeah,
richer, deeper storyline. The visuals are bigger. Everything about it
right.
is bigger. But besides this visual look, you also, particularly in your movie, there is a lot of chemistry and tension between the characters. Cora, Liam, Finn are all kind of moving pieces during the second movie. How what was your vision to make sure we got that
Oh,
chemistry and
that's that is a great question. And it, in fact, was my main goal. Like
Yeah.
those were kind of my marching orders was, to really kind of like you met everyone in the first movie, and the second movie was to really stir the pot and make sure that by the end of the movie you really didn't know what was going to happen, like which way she was going to go. So yeah, it was really part of my, it was kind of what I say, my remit, that was my main job, was these characters. And one of the things that I wanted to do was, to make sure that Finn was a contender, because he had that, lovely scene at the ball, but generally he was a tea guy. And so, obviously the pool scene was written for to show that. And so I really leaned into that one to make sure that he really became a contender, because how do you compete with a rogue from Ireland if you're a tea guy lawyer, it's like so it was something that we really leaned into, talked to the cast a lot about it. And they were all super game. They all knew the drill, like what we were trying to do. But it was super fun to do that. And because it's like a dance really of like leaning into Liam and then leaning into Finn. And then it's sort of like dancing a little bit. That's how
and
I
then
kind
throw
of.
in Magnus
And then Magnus, who's adorable.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Absolutely adorable. Samar Salem, amazing. So yeah, that was super fun to get him in there, because then it just was like, it was a real, nobody saw that coming, right? And this third guy shows up and you're like,
Yeah. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. And he's so handsome. At one point I'm like, how are there so many handsome men in this movie?
But I think because it's 3 movies, don't you think it allowed all those characters to have a little deeper storyline to actually take you on that journey?
Yeah, I think it's one, I love this format. I love a limited series or mini series. In general, it's my personal favorite to watch, because it is like long enough to take you on a big, long journey, but there's still a satisfying beginning, middle, and end. So I think it's part of the reason why I really want to be part of the project, is because it is like, it's like, well, this is what I watch, and I watch lots of things, but that is particularly a favorite of mine. So yeah. And so, yeah, you're right. It did give each actor time to flex and find the character and find the moments and really tell not just the story that we're telling, but also their story. That's what the thing I really loved, especially about this movie, this middle movie, was we got people's stories, right? We got Finn's story. And so that I really felt was great about having the 3 movies to tell a story.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that moment up too, that the moment with Finn on the steps of his childhood home was a really sweet moment where you kind of were like, okay, well, we would pick Finn maybe, like we'll be okay with it, but
we'll put him in the mix.
We'll let him stay, and then of course there was like this instant chemistry too at the bar doing. Playing darts with Magnus, and then of course you have Liam. Did you shoot it differently for each character, like when you were really concentrating on those moments of chemistry, or is it kind of the way it's done?
I don't know about that. I think that it's more about trying to capture those moments, and show the geography between them. Maybe a little bit, especially because some of it's outside and some of it's inside, and Samar has a bit more of a cheeky edge to him. So that was all steady cam in there. And so it's just a little bit of movement. Whereas the stuff on the steps with Finn, that was still cameras on, like on sticks, because that sort of suited them more like he's more steady and she's steady, so it kind of so I guess a little bit like there was this constant trying to part of it is to make the movie interesting, so that to change the type of shooting to keep it interesting. But part of it is I don't really think like what does each character need, but I do think what does each scene need.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then the sort of the Magnus showing up super cheeky, I'm like, okay, well, this guy, he needs a little peekaboo stuff going on here. Yeah, so it is. I guess they're connected, the scene and the person. But I'm always thinking, what does the scene need? What are we trying to get across to the audience? How can we best? How can I best show the audience what this scene is all about? So it's constantly, I mean, with the music, with the acting, with the camera, with the way. A lot of it is the way the characters are moving, like they are also involved in the dance. Yeah.
Okay, the music. We're going to pause for a moment and talk about the music in this movie. You have two top songs from the charts in this movie, which is pretty unheard of in a Hallmark movie.
Yes. Very unheard of.
Very unheard of. In fact, even getting one is like, wait a minute, they got the actual song for this. And you have both Callum Scott's You're the Reason and ex-ambassadors, now I forgot it.
Unsteady.
Yes. Yeah. Was that always the plan, or how did that come about?
It's interesting that the director, the producers were amazing, really amazing going after songs in the network. And I had those two songs on my playlist, so I knew that I have been sent those by Alex Koskas. He's like, listen to these songs, and I had them on my playlist while we were shooting. In fact, they're still on my favorites. So it was, so, I mean, I worked to those songs, but then when they finally got them, I was kind of in shock, because that's brilliant. I mean, I take absolutely no credit for that. Like that was brilliant by the producers to get those songs. Yeah.
I mean, it's just so perfect when Liam's like carrying Cora out of the water. I mean, like, you couldn't have had a more perfect song.
Yeah. That moment. Oh my God.
I know, we need to talk about that.
First of all, I'm just going to say there's so many fan edits out there these days on social media. And when those songs came on, it's like, who needs an edit? It's like on our screens for us. What is it? It made you who's your yell. It was like my who's your yell moment. I'm like, yes!
Nice.
Right. It was good. Before we talk about the big kiss and all and that, I wanted to ask you about the special effects. It just dawned on me that we didn't really chat about that, but there's some little things like the angels appearing and disappearing. And did you have to consider anything when shooting those scenes, when you knew that would be added in after, or did you just get to shoot those, like, the little ping with the handshake?
Yeah. The handshake is mostly acting and sound. Mm-hmm. The popping in and out of Aegon, there was quite a lot of discussion with that. And Lucy, first up, she was the one that did all the tests to figure out how we were, she did tests during the first time, and then that went off to the producers in the network, and then they looked at all the tests. So she was really the one who decided, who worked on that. And then it's actually not super complicated, because you have to just lock the camera, and then you have your moving actor on one side, and then then it's an empty spot, and then the actor walks in and sits down wherever, and then so then you have a clean and him sitting there, and then in the VFX they marry those together so it looks like he pops on. So right. It's not a super complicated VFX. It's just you have to make sure you get it every single time.
Right.
It's just something that has to be tracked to make sure that it's got every single time. Yeah. But it really added something.
Yeah.
And the consistency, as a viewer, we know what's happening. It's like, then we're like, oh, and here we go.
Right. And as the movie 2 director, that's really my job too, is to see what's happening in movie 1. I was there. I was on set a lot. I was watching all the dailies. And then I watched, like cuts as they were coming through. So
Yeah.
my job was to really like, yes, of course, I have my own spin on everything and I bring myself to the movie because the movies are, but I have to make it enough the same so it
Hmm.
has a flavor of me, but it doesn't feel like I just picked it up and did a totally different movie. So I have to follow those things that Lucy put in place so that you know what's happening. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a clue. It would all be lost, right? If I changed everything. So, yeah, it's kind of an interesting balance that to make sure you have to do your, you end up on the screen. It's a funny thing that directors' personalities show in the movie, but then to make sure that enough of the and I don't know the conventions that the
Okay.
conventions are the same, so that because that's what the audience needs those. So it's really unfair to the audience if you don't follow those conventions.
Right. What would you say was a way that that your personality shows in the second movie?
I think I really like. I mean, Lucy has a lot of elegant shooting, but I think for me, especially the big stunt sequence. I
Yeah.
had done huge storyboards for all of that, and I really love being able to see everything in the frame. Like I
Hmm.
like wide shots. So I really wanted, some people shoot tight all the time for those sorts of action, which I did some of, but I really wanted, to see everyone in the frame.
Yeah.
So you see Liam and Finn run around the corner. We still have Cora and Magnus in the frame, and then Magnus runs off, and then so that kind of thing I think is very, like is quite a particular kind of shooting, and it's all timing, like getting the act. But I love that because I like the actors to get a run at stuff, and to be able to kind of feel like they're in a scene with all the other actors.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of thing was definitely is definitely something that's more specific to me. Yeah. And then I think the other scene was the pool scene, which is my other favorite scene. And in that one, it's funny, we found a great place to do it, but I opted to not really dress it. Like we did a bit of dressing, but I was like, can we spend the money on extras? Because I felt that would really sell. Like not just any extras. Like I don't know where the casting people got all those bikers. I mean, there were some real bikers there. It was crazy, but so that I think was like again specific because I wanted them all in biker outfits, and so it really sold it as a biker
Right. Like a biker
hangout,
club.
even though
Yeah.
it's just like a family restaurant. But so it was like choices like that. I think it's not necessarily something no one else would choose, but it's just those are the sorts of choices that directors make that make it a little bit different than maybe the other person. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So what do you want to ask about that scene, Sarah? We got to talk about that kiss scene.
I think we should just talk about it. Just tell us everything. I mean, it's so I couldn't picture it all being shot with like really tight. I now that I love being able to see everybody kind of running around and how dangerous it was and how
Hmm.
chaos, how much
Yeah.
chaos it was. So, yeah, talk about
It
it.
was,
Tell us.
it was a crazy time. We shot at night, obviously, and in the middle of winter. Like those
Oh
actors were
gosh.
amazing, and I had done storyboards, so everybody, and I'd sent them out to everyone, so everyone knew what we were doing because I knew that we were tight for time, and it's a lot, and
Hmm.
so I didn't want to spend time explaining everything. Like that's just so everybody knew what we were doing, and then also we went and did. There was rehearsals. We went and did a rehearsal. I went with the DP and the camera guys so that we could so we all knew where they already knew where everything was going to be shot, and
Right.
a lot of stuff like when that kind of stuff is like what you have to remember what side you're on, like so unless you're trying to disorient the audience, which I was not. I wanted the audience to just follow the action, And then there was fight rehearsals. So a lot goes into that. Like the actors had to come and rehearse the fighting. And then we had, everyone had a stunt double. And so we did everything with the stunt doubles. Like we would do it with the stunt doubles, and then the actors would step in and do it with the stunt double, and then the actors would do it themselves. So it takes quite a bit of time. And then we had a camera in the water, which I really, 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 really wanted. I wanted to be able to see, you know, from the water up to the so that was an extra camera that we used.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it was pretty cold. Like the actors were amazing troopers because they kept having to go back in and come back out for the to get the timing right of the walkout. And then also it's called off speeding, where we just did slow-mo, but it's not slow-mo. It was just a little bit slow-mo. Because when you do very slow-mo, you lose the sound.
Yeah.
And I wanted the sound of the water. So we just turned it down a little bit so that it just, oh my gosh, really adds to the drama of him walking out of the water. And we can hear the splash, splash, splash. Yeah, it was cold. We had a hot tub on deck so that the people who went in the water could get in the hot tub afterwards.
Oh,
because,
wow.
Yeah, because it was like, you guys are American, right? I would say 0 degrees. I think that's 32 for you guys. It was cold.
So right at freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So right at freezing.
Yeah. And we had you have to have a lot of safety people on deck when you're, especially when you're shooting in the water. Mm-hmm. So we had water safety in the water, and then a water safety boat. So to make sure that everyone got out safe.
Was that a pool you were in, or was it an
That was a lake.
A lake.
That was an actual lake outside.
Actual lake, yeah.
Yeah.
So a little less reliable.
Yeah, that was. I mean, often it's done in a pool, but we were super tight for time, and I wanted, you know, you can see from the water, you can see the deck and the house. Yeah. So, you know, I just wanted all to be in the shot, so it had to be shot there.
Okay.
And then it's like, so we have all this running around, and then we have this kiss kind of as this is all happening. So how did you balance that really beautiful romantic moment, but while we're still having Finn chasing, you know, Magnus and kind of in the background?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously you cut it all up into pieces. So we shot the whole thing, but then, you know, the kiss, I mean, it's the most important moment. like all the other stuff's really important, but that kiss is really important.
Yeah.
So it's really important that we made space and time for that and got that right. And so it's just about, you know, not panicking really, and making sure that, even though of course we're running out of time, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, but you know, like the actors never feel rushed, and they can really get into the moment and give like 100%, which is, you know, what they did. So yeah, it was. So that's really it's about making space for them and making time to make sure that we're not rushing and, you know, hurry up, kiss, let's go. No. It's all about the kiss. The other stuff is the build-up.
From Finn, you've got to get it all. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. So it was a lot of running around. I mean, the crew were amazing, and they understood the assignment. It was I think that week was extremely hard on everyone. We worked quite a few nights. And, you know, the crew, after we finished shooting, the crew still have to wrap up all the gear. And, you know, it was, they were amazing, because it was a lot of, nobody really wants to work till 3-4 in the morning. Right. Over and over again, you know, but it just was, what had happened is, because all of the stuff in Ireland, you know, they're running through the woods, and that was all at night. Right. And I really wanted, this scene, the lake scene, to be a mirror, because it is really. Right. And so it had to be shot at night.
Yeah.
Right. So originally
if it would have been shot during the day, you would not have connected it as easily.
Right.
I totally agree with you. And that's what I said when I saw the schedule and it was during the day. And I'm like, no, this has to be at night because we're shooting the
Yeah.
other stuff at night. So
Right.
it has to be at night so that we can go back and forth easily. And you can see that the two scenes are mirrors of each other because they're not really. I mean, she's falling into a lake and, they're not actually. But so we have to, like they have to mirror each other for this kiss to work.
Right. But I'm going to back up a little bit. Not just the kiss. So maybe the second most important part about this scene is the coming out of the water, which is such an iconic romance
Right.
novel, romance movie. Coming out of the water. What exactly were you trying to capture as they're coming out of the water?
Well, I was really trying to capture that kind of like iconic kind of romance. I mean, in fact, there's this, I don't know if you guys watch Bridgerton, but
Yeah,
there's this
of course.
moment. Okay. So there's the moment where Jonathan, whatever his name is, the
Jonathan
Viscount.
Bailey. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Jonathan Bailey, and he's in a white shirt. In fact, I had pitched a white shirt. It was just too cold for him to wear a white. I kept saying, can we just have him in a white t-shirt, a white shirt? And that was really the moment that I had in my mind, even though that was in the pond and it was during the day. But when he turns around in that white shirt and, it's just like so beautiful. And I'm like, that was what I was kind of like, that was my inspiration.
Yeah. Everyone knows that scene. we're like, yeah, the Jonathan Bailey scene where he's coming out of the water. I
Or
don't
like
know
the
what
Mr.
you're talking
Darcy.
about.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, like it is kind of a client in romance novels. Even it's there's a reason Bridgerton did it too, and as people who are watching this, it gives you just kind of that iconic classic moment, and it's timeless, which feels perfect for this.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It could have been at any time that he was carrying her out of the water. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I love it.
And it's great because he's a big guy. Like Lachlan is. I don't know if you guys have met them, but he's a big guy and she's tiny. So it was at one point I'm like, I want them to go back in. Do you think can they do it again? Someone said. I'm like, he could carry me out. I think we're good. Yeah. And so I asked him. I said, are you good to go in and do it again? He's like, yes. Great. So we did it. They did it like 4 or 5 times in the water. He would, in fact, eventually I'm like, can you carry her in and then carry her out? Like carry her in, dunk her, and then carry her out because she was freezing cold and I didn't want her in the water. And he seemed fine. So yeah, eventually he was like carrying her in and out. Like it was really, like he was a real gentleman and they got along really well, which was super helpful. But they wanted that scene to work, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. We did get to talk with them last week, so that was fun.
Great.
They were lovely. Okay, so to backtrack a little bit, we have other little moments that are happening in this movie, like the necklace. And we get to kind of see that feeling that Cora has, like when she puts it on. So we know that that's going to become important. So how did you, all those little details, how did you just make the viewer notice? Like, this is not just a necklace. I mean, we get it in the flashbacks too, but I guess I'm losing my train of thought right now. But
It's like significance.
Yeah, go ahead, Julie.
It's the significance of the necklace.
It is super significant. I love that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes. It is very significant, and I needed to make sure that it was clear that it was significant. And it's also, it's something like when the necklace rides up the shirt, like it can be anything, but if we do a close up on it and slow down the camera a bit, then it becomes really kind of sexy and in a non, like everybody's dressed, but it's really it really evoked the emotion of the two of them. Like it just was, I felt that it was a really important moment because again, it's a connecting between the present and the past. Yes. And I really wanted that to be close-ups on the necklace itself. so that you really, it was, yes, to see the necklace, but also it was to make sure that to feel that connection between the present and the past. And I felt that worked actually.
And the intimacy of that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, and they're not even touching each other. So it was a lovely moment. And it was really hard to get that necklace on and off. Like even I tried, because Lachlan was having trouble, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, no, I cannot do this. Like I certainly couldn't do it with cameras rolling with emotion. And so we did have to kind of like spend a bit of time on how to get that necklace on without any fumbling. So, and they had already, I think, done it, and they did it in Ireland.
Right.
So they already knew that it was going to be a tricky clasp. Yeah.
Yeah. You needed one of those little magnetic clasps.
We should have had you on set for that.
You can just switch those
Next
clasps
time, just
out
call
to
me.
the magnetic clasp. You guys just get somebody in there with their pliers.
I actually thought about that when I was watching, because you could see like when Liam's putting it on, it takes a little longer, and then Cora just like whips it off, and I'm like, oh, they must have had a magnetic clasp. But too funny. But I think, you brought up a point about the intimacy of some of these moments, and even like the sexiness. And I just think that these movies really did that so well. And I think that's why Julie and I keep saying like these just feel elevated. Everything about them feel more elevated, and I think that that's a big reason is we're really feeling that chemistry and that intimacy, but it's still Hallmark. It's still rated G. It's still very, lighthearted in a sense. But I just think the way that it was done in all three movies was just pretty incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, great. I mean, that was the goal. Yeah.
Right. It feels like it really brings something a little different to Hallmark. Hallmark has done a few trilogies, including the Wedding Veil movies and the Groomsmen's movies. They were standalone, though. They didn't particularly tell a continuous story. And this is different. This is a trilogy, a mini-series, or whatever we might be calling it, an event. Do you think this is a type of storytelling that could really work on Hallmark?
I absolutely cannot answer that question. I really hope so, because I loved being with these characters for 3 movies and having one story so that we could really get to know them. I really love the format, and I hope that the people watch it and love it, and then there's more, because it is great to be able to delve into people's characters and also do very complex story. Like the story is quite complicated,
Right.
and you can't do that in 90 minutes. But you can do it in 3 times 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I hope so.
Yeah. No,
Me too.
It felt really more like you get a lot of like, I'll call them one season storylines, or a series on like things like Netflix or Paramount or any Apple TV, and it really felt like one of those. This feels like one of those kind of one season series, and just with that deeper storytelling.
Yeah, I think that's exactly true. That is. But there's still an ending, right? I mean, it's different from series television, where every time you get to the end of a season, there's a cliffhanger.
Right.
So which is great, but there's no resolution. You're just always chasing the resolution. But in this, you get it. Yeah.
Right. Although we did end this movie on a bit of a cliffhanger, because Cora is in the hospital.
Well, you have to have a cliffhanger at the end of the episode. I just meant at the end of the whole season. But yes, we did end it on a bit of a cliffhanger, for sure, because we want everyone to come back and watch the end.
Yeah. Now we have to.
But the 3 of them together does give you the feeling like a single season on one of those other streaming platforms, and I kind of love it. I feel like Hallmark fans will really like the deeper storytelling that is offered by Providence Falls, the Providence Falls movies. I'm excited for people to see it. You talk about so many different locations. Like, the number of locations is kind of actually crazy that you guys shoot in. Did you have a favorite location?
A Favorite location. I did love the lake house. It was a really unbelievably beautiful house. And I did also love the pool house. The pool,
Yeah.
that was a super awesome location. And then honestly, the garage, I mean, I would die to shoot there like a whole show. It was like, when we walked in, I was like, is this for real? Like, this was a real working garage. Like, that wasn't set deck. That was for real. So I loved shooting in there because it just had like these endless possibilities, and I wanted to shoot. So that was a super busy day because also we only had the one day in there, and there's a scene in the third movie in there, and we wanted to get that because
Right.
they didn't have time to keep, it's every time you move locations, you're taking time out of your shooting days. So we were trying to make sure that got, so Lucy was coming to shoot that at the end of the day. Yeah, it had so many nooks and crannies, and then the garage, like the people who worked there were the extras. I mean, it was, great. Loved it.
It's perfect. I mean, it was so clean and kind of pretty.
Yeah, yeah, and the colors, right? Like the blue and the red, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it was. I love that location.
Time to pitch a movie. We'll pitch something just for the garage.
Okay,
That can be the home base for that movie. Everything comes out of the garage. I'm all
there we go.
Right?
Starring a mechanic. I mean, what could be better?
Right?
Yeah, you've got to get like that shot of the mechanic coming out from under the car in the white shirt. Yeah. There you go. That's the whole movie now.
White shirt.
In the white.
Add the shirt.
The pitch is ready to go.
Okay, so Siobhan, what would you tell somebody that has not seen this second installment of Providence Falls yet?
I think Providence Falls, the second movie, An Impossible Promise, really the plot thickens on every level. The plot thickens on the modern day police mysteries, and it also thickens on the romance. So I think that's really what I would say happens in this movie is that, yeah, the plot thickens and the choices become more complicated.
Yeah, very complicated.
Yeah. Did you have any favorite behind the scenes memory that really stuck with you from filming this movie?
Oh, wow. So many. Yeah. Like so many. I think one of the things that sticks out to me the most is how many days we were outside in the mud. Actually, there was a lot of like being outside, and so when we first started shooting, there was snow outside.
Okay.
You'll notice that there was no snow in any of the exteriors. So it was luckily the AD who does the scheduling was super experienced, great guy, and he could see we had this problem because when we were doing the tech survey, we went to that lake house. So the tech survey is when we go to a location with all of the key crew, like all the heads of departments, and then I talk about how we're going to shoot the scenes. And so they can figure out where the generators go, where the trucks go, and then also that in that case the stunt people came so that we could I could say, okay, she's going to run down this path here, she's going to try and go up the drive, but then Sammer is going to go. He's clever, and Magnus is going to run. So we do all that, and then we come down to the dock and then explain it all. Okay, there was 2.5 feet of snow on the ground when we were there.
Oh, wow. Not just a little snow.
No, and everybody was like, and everyone's like tromping through the snow, and people are like, we're doing what? I'm sorry, what are we doing with all this snow? Anyway, and so it was like every day looking at the weather, and luckily in Vancouver it's mild, and we just hit a mild spot. And over the week that we were shooting in the studio, the snow melted, and so then we ended up with
wow.
no snow. Yeah, but it was super lucky because that day when we showed up and everyone's looking at me like I'm insane.
Yeah, I bet, because how do you go from over 2 feet of snow to
Yeah.
you're shooting
And
in the
every
mud?
scene was like that. Like every set, like when we went to see the alley, which is I love that scene, the alley scene
Mm,
between Liam and Aegon. It was covered
right.
in snow also. Like everything was covered in snow. So yeah, we were praying hard, I'll tell you.
It's kind of
Wow.
crazy you shot these in the winter.
Yeah.
Just gonna say it.
I think that I said sometimes I don't think that my daughter is in theater school now learning acting, and I said, "Have they told you yet that you're going to always be cold or hot?" She's like,
You'll
"No." I'm
never
like,
be
"Okay."
comfortable.
You'll always have uncomfortable shoes on, but you're always going to be dressed for the wrong season. She's like, "No, they haven't told me that yet." I'm like, okay.
But
Yeah.
that is correct. I feel like they're always dressed for the wrong season. We see them filming the Christmas movies in the middle of the heat in the summer, and fans everywhere. And now I'm gonna put a sweater on.
Yeah, the actors are. I mean, they're amazing. I love actors. I think that they are. They're like little heroes all the time. They just do so many crazy things, and they need looking after, and that's why we had a hot tub.
That's why you had the hot tub. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, body
Yeah.
temperature, and we didn't need any hypothermia coming out of the water like
No.
that. No.
Right into that hot tub. Um, I know you've done this a bunch of times with us, but would you play our little favorites game again?
Okay, sure. I don't even know what I've said before, but when time changes,
Things change.
things
Yeah.
change. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And we
We,
like
we
the
should make it
changing
more like
ages.
a current events game, kind of, instead of a favorite.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay, so do you have a favorite movie of this season of your
So
life?
my favorite movie that I've watched most recently was a movie called Coda,
Okay.
which is it's about a hearing girl who's raised in a deaf family, and she's a singer. She wants to go to school and learn how to sing, and it's a beautiful, heartbreaking, heartwarming movie that I recommend to everybody. Like it was one of the movies that I was watching for this because I'm always
Okay.
looking for warm and inspiring, and it's a really fabulous movie. So yeah, Coda. If you can find it, I think I watched it on Prime, but
Okay.
I don't know where it is in the States. Yeah.
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 We'll have to
So
look.
CODA, Children of Deaf Adults, I believe is what that stands for. Yeah. And
Yes. Yeah.
oh, yeah, that sounds beautiful. I might have to look for that. Do you have a favorite TV series or a TV series you're currently binging?
Well, I have a lot of series that I mean, I watch a lot of television actually, and my very favorite mini series, because when I thought about this, I thought, what is my favorite like limited series?
Yeah.
And I think that my very favorite limited series that was the most surprising is one called River. It's a British one, and it's about it. It is a police procedural, and it has other elements. And it's got Stellan Skarsgård in it. Anyway,
Okay.
that's one of those series that when you finish, you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't watched it so I can watch it again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, and I thought of that immediately when I started working on this because it doesn't have, they don't go back in time, but it does have more elements in it and
Okay.
trying to solve crimes. And then anyway, it's well worth a watch. So, and then there's the one of my favorite series right now that I'm waiting for the next one is Only Murders in the Building, which is completely unrelated to this, but it's one of my favorite series. So I just have to mention it.
Oh,
Yeah.
love that.
I hear really great things. I've seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes of it, but I never really get to sit down and watch TV.
Well, you have a young child. Mine are grown up.
I have a bunch.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so what are you doing for hobbies these days?
I read a lot. And I'm a big hiker. I have 2 dogs, and I live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in
Yeah.
Vancouver. So, I do a lot of hiking with my old dog's 16 now. She doesn't do much, but me and my young dog, and now I have a grand dog.
Oh,
Like my daughter just got a dog, so I call it my grand
Oh,
dog. And so
yeah.
I take my younger dog and the grand dog out hiking. That's my favorite hobby of the day.
Yeah. What are you reading?
What am I reading? That's a good. Oh, I'm currently reading a book called The Wager, which
Okay.
is a nonfiction. It's about a boat, a shipwreck. It's
okay.
super good. Yeah, it's really, really good. I'm like an amateur sailor. So yeah, and so my brother is a big nonfiction reader, and he recommended this to me as someone who likes to go out on the water, and it's
Mhm.
brilliant. It's like a real yarn about castaways and mutiny, and it takes place in 1744. And sometimes I have to just stop and read stuff out again about like how many people didn't make it, or
Yeah.
I just read a huge battle scene and I had to reread it because I'm like, it's absolutely insane
Hmm.
how the battles worked when people had to like be able to see the whites of each other's eyes. It's
Right.
totally different than war now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
They had to be in close proximity,
yeah, yeah,
literally,
yeah.
in close proximity. Yeah. No, those are those the tales of things that really happened always are like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I
Almost
know
like
we're so
reality
far removed.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like nobody's gonna believe this. This is
Yes. Yeah. It's crazy. Like it is anyway, it's a fabulous book. If you have time to read it, The Wager, it's an excellent read. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We're both big readers.
yeah. And then music. Do you have a favorite singer or band or song that you're currently into?
One of the singers, one of the artists that was like, I think that I listened to for this movie was Dermot Kennedy. And so
Mhm.
I just fell in love with him. So I listened to a lot of his stuff. And then I have this favorite female artist called Louise Burns, who's Canadian actually. And she has an album out, I think came out a couple of years ago called Element. And so those are kind of the two people that I'm listening to right now.
Love it. Well, this is so fun. We always enjoy talking with you and kind of picking your brain about some of this technical stuff. I think you know this by now, but we both just find it so interesting, and it just makes watching movies and shows, I don't know, for me even better. It enhances the experience. So we appreciate your time and answering all of our questions, and we love having you here.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's always, I mean, I love talking about movie making um, and I really, this project was really a pleasure and an honor to be on. So it's really amazing I love to talk about it. Anytime I can, I'll talk about it.
Well, we love to talk about it with you. It's always just so eye-opening and like engaging and
Yeah.
enchanting, and we just love hearing about the process. So thank
Enchanting
you.
is the perfect word,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. So we all love movie making. That's
we
excellent.
love it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Siobhan. And thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. Siobhan, tell everybody when to watch Providence Falls.
So Providence Falls, #2, An Impossible Promise, is on Hallmark Channel NW at 8 p.m. on Saturday, August the 9th. And then it's going to go on to the Hallmark streaming service the next day.
Next day. Perfect.
Oh,
Well, we'll see you next time, everybody. Thank
all right.
you.
Thank you.